All right. Let's see here. Hey, let's see here. Hey, what's up, man? How y'all doing? To give a little explanation of why I'm doing a live tonight, I actually filmed a video on my jig and spoon setup to do the typical Man Cave Monday like I always have been doing, and didn't have any sound. It saved, had no sound whatsoever. I've had a couple do that before, but I don't really know what happened. So I just said, well, I'm gonna hop on here and do a live, because I didn't do a Man Cave Monday last week, and I didn't want to not do one this week, and I haven't done a live, and I don't know, been quite a while since I've done one, and we're coming up right here on the end of the year of 2024. We literally have tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and so I just wanted to give a little 2024 update or overview, I guess, and then maybe a 2025 plan type deal for 2025 coming up. And this is a very open forum live. I'm not going to really go any real direction with this. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can just ask them. Just type them and ask them, and I'll be glad to answer them. But been getting out on the water right much. Got out today, went to a pond, had a fun little day. That video will probably be uploading Wednesday. Went out and tried to catch some of my last bass of 2024 and was able to get that done. And then I got some good river videos coming up as well. I had some really good days on the river not very long ago, and caught some really good fish. So pretty excited to get those videos out to you all, and in the next week or so probably. But it's been really warm here in Virginia. Let's see, today was 68, yesterday was 75, and I think the day before that was like 78. So it got very, very warm. So actually, when I went today to that pond, those fish were very shallow. It actually surprised me. They're pretty active, and I still caught them on a jig pretty much, but they were very active and very shallow. I was able to see them, and that water probably had rose probably 10 degrees from what it was a couple of days ago, I would say, just because it's been so warm. But it is going to get very, very cold in, I don't know, the next 2 weeks. I think they're saying it's going to get really cold. Really, this week, like towards the end of this week. It's supposed to get really cold into next week. So probably going to break the jig and spoon back out, do some jig and spoon fishing. Me and Lee went out. Let's see. We went out late last week. It was late last week. And we did pretty good. I mean, we had a really good day, a really fun day, caught some nice fish, caught some fish for the freezer. That was really why I wanted to do that video on my jig and spoon setup. I know some of you all had kind of asked in the comments on that video to go over my setup, and I went over it, was very thorough and everything, and got in here to do my editing, and saw that the video had no audio whatsoever. And me and my daughter, we went out this afternoon and went hunting, and I just did not have time to refilm that video and all of that. So it just kind of the way things work out, doing this type of stuff, just GoPros and cameras and all that stuff. Sometimes things don't work right, and you don't have audio, and stuff doesn't record, and different stuff like that. So it's just the way it is. But I was kind of bummed because, like I said, I got really in depth and really thorough on that. But I'm going to do another video on that, and that might be next Monday's Man Cave Monday. I'm going to get back out there and do another real in-depth video on that, because that's a super, super fun way to catch a bunch of fish on a jig and spoon. And you can just literally catch anything. I mean, anything that's out there, anything that's willing to bite or eats bait fish, you can catch them on a jig and spoon. And man, that is some fun stuff. So wanted to go over that. So let's see, blown out from the rain. So I didn't, whenever something gets blown out, or very, very muddy. The spoon bite is not really, really good. And I was actually talking about that in the video I did. You definitely want to have some pretty clear water for the spoon to be most effective. You can catch them when it is muddy. You can catch them, but you really, really do a lot better when it is clear. When you have clear water, you'd really, really do a lot better. So I'm gonna adjust this light right here. But yeah, definitely don't want to. I'm not saying don't try it in muddy water, but it's definitely more of a clear water technique. John, so we need more flipping videos and updated. Right, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna definitely do a 2025 rod and reel arsenal. So going into 2025, I'm gonna be going over all my setups, exactly what I'm using them for, whether it's a jig, jerk bait, whatever. I'm gonna go over all my rod and reels and go over them with you all and kind of go over them and talk about why I like specific rods for different techniques. I want to go over gear ratios. I want to get really, really in depth and kind of talk about those types of things because especially talking about gear ratio, that's something that you don't hear a lot about anymore. It used to be more of a hot topic, for lower gear ratios for cranking and things like that. And then more of a high gear ratio for top water situations, or if you're flipping, you want to catch up to a fish that thumps it and swimming out of a treetop or out from under a dock or whatever. So I'm going to really, really get into that and do a really in-depth video for 2025 going into it. So that's going to be a video that's going to be coming up soon for sure. And then as far as flipping videos, I mean, I'm going to bring y'all plenty of them. And like I said, the probably not my next video, but a couple of videos after that is going to be out on the river, pitching a jig around, catch some really good fish. And so that's going to be a cool video. And that's out of the John boat as well. So, but anyway, like I said, it is going to get really cold here. So techniques are going to switch up a little bit, going to be more of maybe some jig, jerk bait, slowing down a little bit. We're supposed to have some highs that are going to be pretty chilly and some nights down in the teens, which we had that leading up to this warm front that came in basically end of last week. Kind of it came in and our temps really, really climbed up really high. I mean, for us to have temps in the mid to upper 70s at the end of December here in Virginia is pretty unusual, to be honest with you. But, and it really can kind of mess the fish up because when fish get out, they get in that cold water pattern. And then you get, a warm front come in, a water warms up. It kind of throws some fish into kind of a weird pattern sometimes and kind of messes them up a little bit. But, overall, the fishing has been pretty good. It has been pretty good. Haven't had too many like really, really tough days out on the water. So, pretty excited about that. Whenever you get out, sometimes in the winter, you can get out and really grind and really have to fish really, really hard to try to catch some fish. And, haven't really had to do that too much here recently. So pretty excited about that. But a few blade baits. Oh man, hopefully I'm going to get out on the water with Lee here soon. Again, like I said, we were out on the water last week, but he's got a spot and I got some videos from there last year, I think, but he's got a pond that has some absolute hammers in it. And we always catch them on blade baits. And blade baits, just like a jig and spoon, blade baits are a highly effective and very underrated bait for the winter. Everybody thinks about, jerk baits or jigs or, just different techniques. A lot of people catch them on rattle traps and stuff like that, but your standard, techniques you have for winter. But the blade bait has been something that's been around forever, and that thing absolutely catches them. And I've caught a lot of big fish on blade baits, cast that thing out there and yo-yo it back to the boat. And I've caught some really big bass using that technique. It's a very fun technique as well because I love it when it's kind of the same deal when you're jig and spoon fishing. But, when you pop that thing up and it's fluttering back down to the bottom, and then when you go to rip it up again and that fish has hit it on the fall, that is super, super fun, and you can catch some big fish doing that. So definitely the jig and spoon And the blade baits is an awesome winter technique and a really good way to catch them. So let's see. I'm in Southeast Virginia. So Martinsburg, West Virginia. I don't know. Is that Southern West Virginia? You want to try to catch a 10-pounder. Yikes. So you got Briary Creek. Briary Creek definitely has giants in it. You have Sandy River Reservoir. There are giants in there. Chick River has absolute giants in it. A lot of big fish are caught in there. The Chick and the James. Also the Occoquan Reservoir, which that's a 9.9 only reservoir, but that has some absolute giants in it as well. Let's see, 10 pounders. You got Lake Anna. Lake Anna has monsters in it. Lake Anna has some really, really big fish. Chick Lake has big fish in it as well. But definitely Briary Creek and Sandy River Reservoir, they have some really, really big fish in them. Also, you have the Suffolk Lakes. So you have the Suffolk Lakes here, which are 9.9 only restricted lakes, but there's some absolute giants in those lakes as well. Like some really, really big fish. So, yeah, best months definitely February and March. If you want to catch the biggest fish that you're going to catch all year, February, March, and April. And the reason I say April is because you can still catch really big fish pulling up to get on the bed, or that are bedding. You can catch some absolute giants. But definitely, to me, February and March are the absolute best days to catch really, really big bass. To catch that 10-pounder, those are the months to catch them. And, you know, I've literally fished all my life. You know, I'm 41 years old now, and I've been bass fishing almost exclusively since I was 6. And I mean, I've only caught one fish over 10 pounds. You know, you get to talking about a 10-pounder, you're talking about, you know, giant. You're talking about a giant fish. So, let's see. Do I fish with mini plastic worms? I do. They have their time and their place. You know, I like a straight tail worm a lot of times, Texas rig, straight tail worm. And then also I like a really big curly tail worm. Once you get into the hot months, you get into like July, August, early September, those really, really dog days of summer. I like a big curly tail worm, dragging it on the bottom, you know, with a 3/8 ounce weight or a 1/2 ounce weight. You know, we also have a mock worm out as well. It's a, you know, a curly tail worm, like a U-tail worm, and it's 9 inches long, right at 9 inches long. So a bigger profile worm, and it works really good. But my favorite colors are red shad. Probably red shad would be my number one color. If I was to pick any worm to fish with for the rest of my life, it would probably be red shad. And then also I really like blue fleck and plum. So like a plum or blue fleck, you have your base blue, and then you have like some purple flake, some red flake, something like that. You know, June bug is good as well, but I really like blues. If you pay attention to my channel, I really, really like using a lot of blues, you know, like electric blue style baits. You know, Strike King has a swamp water blue in the rage bug, which I absolutely love, sapphire blue. I really like to use a lot of blue, so a lot of blue colors. And like I said, that blue fleck and that plum, they fit the bill for me, and I catch a ton of fish on them. But if I was only use one color, it would be red shad. That is the best color to me. Just anywhere and everywhere you can catch a fish on a red shad worm. So, yeah, I do use a lot of worms. Like I said, in the summer, of course, I use finesse worms on a shaky head, you know, finesse technique type deal. You know, and really that can be year round. Anytime you're throwing a shaky head, you can catch fish on one of those year round. But I like to stay with the 5 to 6 inch straight tail worm when I'm throwing a shaky head. I don't really use a lot of like really small finesse stuff, 4 inch and under. I don't use a lot of that smaller stuff. I'm more of a power fisherman, you know, a little bit bigger bait type guy. That's just the way I fish. But Ray Dalton. So my PB is 12 pounds, 3 ounces. 12 pounds, 3 ounces. So I caught it in February of 2022. If you go back and check way back through my channel, I have the video up here of me catching it. It's an awesome video. It was a big fish. Like I said, it was 12.16, which equates to 12 pounds, 3 ounces. I'll probably never catch a fish that big again in my life, to be honest with you. But I got really lucky to catch that fish. And you're saying your PB is a 7.5. That's a monster, man. That's an absolute monster. That's a big fish. Anytime you get a fish over 7 pounds, that is a big, big fish. That is a big fish. This year I was lucky. I think I caught a couple over 7. One of them was on the frog, and I want to say I caught no, and then I caught. Let me see. I think I caught 3. I think I caught 3 over 7. 2 on the jerkbait. Oh no, I caught 4 over 7. One was on a jig, 2 on a jerkbait, and then 1 was on the frog. So caught 4 over 7 this year. But yeah. Let's see. Calling on bass weight 9.5. That's a monster, man. That is a monster. Briary wore him out on an underspin. That's all. The crazy thing, I've never been to Briary. I'm not even that far away from Briary Creek, and I've never been there. I don't really know why, but I just haven't been there. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it was on a pond, Ray. It was on a pond, a 30-acre pond. And the reason I say I was super lucky to catch that fish was literally my buddy asked me to come out fishing with him. And I went with him that one day, and I caught that fish. And I believe it's one of the biggest fish that's ever been caught out of that place. And I did let it go. It was released in there. So that fish is still in there swimming around. Probably 13 plus pounds, to be honest with you now. 13.5, might be 14. I mean, just giant fish. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a private pond in Virginia where I caught it. Yeah. But yeah, 7.5 in West Virginia. That's a big fish. But my biggest public water bass ever is 8 pounds, 10 ounces, 8.10. So public water, 8 pounds, 10 ounces is what it is. So I have several mounts. I have my 12-pound, 3-ounce replica in my man cave, but I'm actually in my house right now. And just because the internet out in my man cave, I have to get an internet repeater, and it's not that good. So I had to do it here. But I'm going to turn this real quick so you can see right there. Let's get it right there. Right there. So I know that's not that great of a video showing them y'all, but that's an 8 pound 9 ounce, and that's a 7 pound 9 ounce. And I caught those back-to-back cast all the way back in 2004. It was March 25th of 2004. I caught them back-to-back cast. And back then we didn't have really good scales or anything. So the intention was to let those fish go and get replicas made. But I wanted to get them officially weighed because I had never caught a fish over 8 pounds at the time. And so by the time I got them weighed, certified, 8 pounds, 9 ounce was what the biggest one was, and 7 pounds, 9 ounce was what the smaller one was. And the 7.9, it actually ended up dying on me. So I ended up getting them mounted together. So really cool mount up over my mantle here over the fireplace. But yeah, to me, honestly, the replicas look better. I like the replica. I mean, the skin mounts look absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're 20 years old, the mounts I was just showing you, but I actually think the replicas look better, and you're able to let the fish go to live on and swim around, but yeah. So south of Richmond, 10 pounds of better potential. I mean, probably so, I would say. But like I said, there are definitely some northern Virginia fisheries that have a lot of big fish on them as well, And once you get into Carolina, you get into Falls Lake, Sharon Harris. What's the other one? Oh, dang, my mind's done went blank. Has absolute giants in it. Oh man, they're all right there together, and I can't think of what the name of it is. I don't know. I can't remember what the name of it is. But anyway, but those lakes in Carolina have some absolute big ones in it. Some big ones. So let's see, 11 and a half in 2022. That's a monster. That's a monster. Let's see. Yeah, I caught those back to back, back to back. I was very lucky. Wasn't expecting that to happen, but it did. It did. So yeah, I mean, I catch and release. I don't like keeping them. Sometimes things happen. You hook a fish deep, something happens crazy. They might die on you. But I mean, really, if you have the opportunity, weigh a fish now with a really good scale, let it go and get your replica. Like I said, the replicas to me look even better. They're cost effective. And to be honest with you, there aren't many people that skin mount a lot of fish anymore. There's just not a lot of people that do it. So let's see. Replica. Yeah, replicas. I mean, it's the way to go. It's the way to go. I've never, let me think. Have I ever fished in Georgia? I don't think I've ever fished in Georgia. No, I've never fished in Georgia. I've fished in Florida several times, but I don't think I've ever fished in Georgia. I got to get down there and do some fishing in Georgia. Let's see. PB is 5.5. Hey, that's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, anytime you get, to me, the way I classify bass is really anytime you get over 5 pounds, that is a big fish. That is a big fish. To some people, it may not be. I've been very fortunate. I've caught a lot of fish over 5 pounds, but I'm telling you, when you hook into a 5-pounder, that is a big fish. That is a big fish. That's no joke. That is a really big fish. Once you get 7 pounds or better, that is a giant. That's when I start classifying fish as a giant. Once you get up above 9 pounds, where you're talking about a huge bass, then you're talking about just absolutely huge. But yeah, I mean, anything over 5 pounds, anything over 20, 21 inches, that's a big fish. That is a big bass. You don't go out and catch fish like that every day. If you're able to go out and catch fish like that every day, you are very, very lucky to have a body of water so good to be able to do that on. But here, where I'm at, you don't go out and catch a 5-pounder every time you go out and go fishing. I mean, live scope has definitely changed things a little bit. A lot more big fish are being caught now, probably more than ever, I would definitely say. Because, I mean, that's just the way it is. Live scope, you're able to see them, you're able to catch them. I utilize the technology as well sometimes, but I definitely prefer going out there with a flipping stick or frogging or getting up shallow and fishing hard and catching them. That's just the way I prefer. But yeah, I mean, big fish are being caught. That's for sure. But yeah, anything over 5 is big. Let's see. Have your fireplace in the background. Oh yeah, I guess I could have turned it where I got that behind me. I'm sitting in my recliner right now, so I got it like kind of off to the side. But yeah, so the Susquehanna, yeah. So I know that they catch a lot of big smallmouth in there, a lot of big smallmouth, and I definitely want to get out there sometime and fish that. I got some buddies that fish out there. I actually have a buddy that actually won a big Bassmaster kayak tournament out there and caught a bunch of big fish. So yeah, I definitely want to get out there and fish. I've fished the Rappahannock here in Virginia, and I've fished what's the other river? It's up in the mountains. I'm trying to think of not the Maury River. That's not it. Can't remember what the name of the river is now. But anyway, went up there and caught some smallmouth. Didn't catch any real big ones. We did see some big ones that day I went out there, but that was up in the mountains here in Virginia. And I caught, I don't know, we caught like 30 or 40 smallmouth that day. It was a really, really good day up there. But we caught a bunch of, like 1 and 2 pounders. So, I appreciate that, Brian the Fisherman. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I always try to, in my videos, show me catching fish, but I always try to talk about what I'm doing, show the technique that I'm using, and, to kind of talk about why I'm doing it, and kind of go through the process, because it's not as easy as going out there just throwing out a bait and catching fish. I mean, it's not that easy. Some days are easier than others. Of course, some days are really tough, but you really have to go through the process, and I like to show that, because it takes a lot of years to really gain that knowledge and kind of know when to do things. And still, even watching people and listening to them, still it takes time to be able to figure these things out for yourself. But, definitely it helps shorten the learning curve, by watching somebody. And there's been plenty of techniques and plenty of things where I've watched people on YouTube to try to figure out how to do the technique, how to, catch fish better doing something or whatever, So like I said, that's my thought process. I always try to share that with you all. And then also, what I'm doing, why I'm using that technique. And, I try to share that in my videos. So that's what I try to do. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, live scope, it's pricey. It is pricey, and it's awesome technology. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I like just going out there and fishing like I did when I was a teenager, going out there, fishing hard, trying to figure them out on your own, and just going out there and grinding, and that's, I grew up river fishing, and that's when I really, as I got probably into my 20s, I really started to power fish a lot. Really, these fish were in these treetops and in this heavy cover, and I could never figure out how to get them out. And, I would get hung in them. You hang a big fish, you lose them or whatever. Well, that's when I really started to incorporate the frog and like flipping, heavy line, heavier tackle. And I really started to be able to catch a lot more of these bigger fish using these techniques. So live scope is awesome, but there's nothing like getting up there shallow and catching them, just really getting in their face. I mean, that's what I really like. I mean, live scope's fun to catch them with that too. And it's very, very useful, very useful. But I try to never get hung up just using live scope. I absolutely try not to do that. So, yeah, the James above Richmond, I actually used to do kayak trips on there. Me and my dad and a bunch of his buddies, we would go up there and do camping trips up there. And oh my goodness, I mean, we would catch so many smallmouth up there. It was so much fun. And it's been many, many years since I've done that. But man, I had some awesome days on the James, catching a ton of smallies. That was a lot of fun, catching them on just a wacky bubblegum, floating worm, throwing a bitsy flip jig. I used to catch them up there on a bitsy flip jig, small crankbaits, top water. Oh, that was a ton of fun. So why is Lake Chesson so hard to fish? Well, Lake Chesson is a very funny place. And when I say funny, I mean, it can be like the best place ever, or it can be about the worst place ever. That place gets fished a lot. It does get hammered by a lot of anglers, but it has a ton of big fish in it. And, really the best time to fish Lake Chesson to me is in the spring. When that water's warming up and those fish are getting up there, pushing up shallow to spawn, you can get up there and catch a lot of fish shallow up around, all that shore grass up there, around the lilies. You can catch them good on, swim jigs. You can catch them on the frog. You can catch them flipping, spinnerbait. There's a lot of different ways to catch them in the spring. And that's definitely when I like to go there. But, Chesson is fished a lot. It gets a lot of pressure. It gets a ton of pressure, but there are a lot of big fish in there as well. And that's kind of one of those places, I don't go there a ton, but it's kind of one of those places where you really have to go fish it right much and really break that place down and try to figure it out and figure out the better areas of the lake. And there's a lot of parts of Chesson that I have not even explored myself, just because I haven't been there so many times. I mean, I've probably been there under 10 times, to be honest with you. But Chesson's a really cool place, but it can be very, very tough. So I am actually going to go to the expo one day. I don't know which day I'm going to go. I don't have a booth or anything like that, but I know I'm going to go one day, and I'm going to go up there, walk around, and just check the place out. And what I might do probably is I might just on my Facebook page and maybe my Instagram. I might just let y'all know like what day I'm going to be there and around about what time. Cause I'm just going to be like floating around looking at stuff. Like I said, I don't have a booth or anything like that, but I know I am going to go one day. And I know it's the 17th through the 19th, but I'm not 100% sure which day I'm going to go up there. So hopefully the weather's good and it's not like last year I went up there and I think it was like almost like a little bit, it was cold and maybe a little snowy maybe, but I don't know. Hopefully the weather's good, but I'm definitely going to go up there one day for sure. Yeah, I like to beat the bank. I mean, that's the way I grew up fishing. That's what I like doing. If I can touch the bottom with my rod tip, then I'm fishing deep water. Like to me, if I can take my rod and I stick it down and I don't get to my reel and I'm touching the bottom, like that's where I want to be. If I plunge down and I'm not touching the bottom with my rod tip, you know, I'm in deep water. So I definitely like fishing shallow and I like fishing the bank. So for sure. But yeah, best times to fish, definitely, yeah, January to March. In April, even May and early June can be really, really good as well. You know, of course, when you get into the dog days of summer, once you get into late June, July, August, when it gets really hot, those water temps really climb up. You know, it can get tough to fish. I mean, no matter where you go, it doesn't even matter where you go, it can get super, super tough. Now, if you can go somewhere that has flowing water, you know, you like a river system that has a really good flow or something like that. Now you can catch fish year round really, really good. But if you get a lake, a pond, and you get, you know, those 80-degree water temps, you know, things get tough. Things do get tough for sure. So you kind of got to fish really hard. You got to fish deep. Oxygen levels are low. You know, when you get into the winter, the oxygen levels are very high in the water. And even though you would think they might be a little bit more sluggish than they are, you know, those fish actually eat a lot more than I used to think they did. I used to think that bass were almost uncatchable if the water was 45 degrees. And I couldn't have been, that's wrong. You know, I was definitely wrong on that. But that was just because I didn't fish a ton in the winter. When hunting season came in, all of my rods went up. But, you know, in the past several years, I fish a lot more in the winter. But definitely, you know, early spring is probably the best time of the year for sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Talking about the days. Yeah. Pre-spawn, it triggers them. The length of the days get longer. You know, and it just is, nature's crazy. Like bass, deer, wildlife, they all know when to do these certain things. When, you know, these females know when to feed up with the spawn coming, you know, and, you know, deer movement, turkey movement, wildlife movement, you know, migrating birds. I mean, it's just crazy how wildlife knows when to do certain things, and bass are no different. You know, they know the lengthening days. They know to start feeding up. They're working towards a spawn, pre-spawn, spawn. And then you get into April, you know, when the water gets up, it creeps up near 60, bass start spawning, you know, and then it's game on. But yeah, that pre-spawn period is very, very good. Very fun time to be on the water. And that's when you're going to catch those giants. What hook size do I use on the raised bug? So I actually use an owner offset wide gap 3/0 is what I use. That owner offset wide gap is a hook I've been using for 20 plus years. It's a heavy wire hook. And the 3/0 is the hook that I use. That is the size that I use. One little tip and I've shown it in some of my videos. And actually, I'm going to try out another hook this year. My buddy John Bird actually told me about this hook, but that is the owner haymaker. And that hook has a really cool angle. The tip of the hook actually kind of sets out a little bit, so you can tell it's going to massively increase your hookup ratio. But on that offset wide gap, I actually take my pliers and slightly bend the hook point out. So then when you set the hook, that hook point drives out of that plastic and into the fish's mouth even better. I don't like to use the EWG and Texpose it or anything like that. That owner offset wide gap is an awesome hook. I use that for I mean, a ton of my worms. I mean, a ton of soft plastics. That's what I use it on. But the Owner Haymaker is a really interesting hook, and I'm definitely going to give it a try this year, just because it looks awesome. But I'm a big, when it comes to worm hooks, I'm a big owner guy. I like using owner hooks. That's what I've been using for a long time. So that's what I use. I use the 3 alt. Yeah, black and blue rage bug, black and blue, swamp water blue, and blue crawl are my absolute favorites. So let's see. Kept records. Oh, well, the crazy thing is I used to keep records of, and I got books, and I haven't done it in, I bet I haven't done it in probably 15 years, probably maybe 10, maybe 15 years. But I actually used to keep a record book of every time I went fishing. Every time I went fishing, where I went, what the air temp was, what the water temps was, whether it was sunny, cloudy, rainy, what I caught them on, how many I caught, what my biggest fish was. I used to keep up with all of that information. And I don't anymore, but I used to. And it was really cool. And it's still really cool to be able to look back, see about times I went fishing, and those memories. Had some crazy, awesome days. And like I said, I wrote them down, which now I guess my days are kind of, kept through YouTube videos, which I save all of my YouTube videos on a hard drive so I can keep them forever if anything ever happens to my channel. But I used to keep up with all of that information. And like I said, it's really cool to be able to look back and see all that. So, okay. So you use the Haymaker a lot. Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, records are cool just to be able to look back at them. You know, my dad used to keep records of hunting and fishing. So I got a book that has days all the way back in the 70s of when he would go squirrel hunting and how many squirrels him and his dad and his brother killed and how many deer they killed and how many they saw and all that. It's really cool to be able to look back and see that information. You know, I never really kept up with hunting records a lot, but my dad did some. I mainly kept up with fishing records. But so what are my plans for 2025? Well, that's a good question. I mean, really, it's just going to be to keep grinding on the channel, to keep building Gunfish TV, and hopefully build a subscriber base, get bigger, and just get out more videos. You know, I would say I want to really try to stay on this 3 video a week track. I really want to try to keep up with that. Stay with the Mondays being the Man Cave Mondays, and then the Wednesdays and Fridays being the fishing videos. I may try to fish a few more tournaments this year. It's really hard for me to do the tournament deal. And I know a lot of people, when I first started this channel, it was very tournament based. I fished a lot of afternoon tournaments. I fished a lot of weekend tournaments. You know, and I've been doing this channel now for almost 6 years. And, you know, my kids were younger. Well, now, you know, my kids are older. You know, my daughter plays softball, you know, and they play, you know, different sports. And the weekends are pretty wrapped up a lot of times being out at the ball field and doing different things. And so it's really hard for me to commit and fish weekend tournaments. It's very hard for me to do. But I may try to get out. I'm going to try to fish some winter tournaments into the spring, maybe before ball starts, and my weekends are a little bit more free. So I'm going to try to be fishing some tournaments. You know, deer season ends actually this Saturday here in Virginia. So my weekends are going to free up a little bit because I spend a lot of time in the woods hunting, and my oldest daughter, she absolutely loves hunting. So we spend a lot of time in the woods and the weekends where I, you know, in the woods, and I do a lot of my fishing kind of midday when it's cold here in the winter. And, you know, but a few more tournaments for the channel. You know, maybe the goal to catch a 8+ pounder. I was able to do that in 2024. This past year, I did catch a fish over 8 pounds. So this year, I would say it would be to catch a 8 pounder, but really just to continue to grind and to build the channel, to build a, you know, bigger subscriber base, and just continue on with fishing. I mean, that's really what the goal is and what the plans are. I've Lose, my sponsors are Lose, Strike King and Mock, P-Line, First Gen Fishing, really, really great sponsors that have stuck with me through 2024 and into 2025. So I'm really excited to continue on with them through 2025. So just very, very excited about it. Also Deep Dive, I have a deal with Deep Dive this year going into 2025. That's an amazing app. If you have not checked that out, I've been talking about it in some of my videos, but that is a really, really awesome app that you can download on your phone. And it has tons of information, and it's one of the best. It's actually the best, not one of the best. It is actually the best fishing app that you can get, hands down. It has more information than you can find anywhere else. Lunar times, to me, lunar times are a big deal. I think, fish feeding times, it really makes a difference. And I've fished long enough and paid enough attention to it to know that it really does matter. So it has lunar charts, has all the lakes. It's awesome. So anyway, just check it out. It's really, really good. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm just excited for 2024. Yeah, I mean, as far as the channel goes, I mean, we're gonna keep grinding just like we've been doing. Like I said, 3 videos a week is what I'm going for. And, I'm not really going to change anything. Things have been going good. I think my subscriber base, really kind of expects what they see out of me pretty much in every video. I'm going to continue to be the same person that you've been seeing for the last over 6 years. My fishing style isn't going to change. Shallow water power fishing. That's just the way I like to fish. Frogging, buzz bait, up shallow, throwing spinnerbaits. I mean, flipping heavy cover. That's the way I like to fish. So we're going to keep on grinding. And like I said, maybe some more tournament stuff for 2025 as well. And, so that's kind of how I'm going to keep the channel going for 2025. And, I appreciate that, Jerry. I'm glad you like, the bump sticks you ordered. I make everything that I sell myself. I hand make everything literally right out in my man cave. When I get an order, I go out there and I make it and ship it off. Everything is handled by me. And I really appreciate everybody that supports the channel through my website, GF Outdoors, whether you buy rod tie downs, boat bump sticks, any products I have on there. I'm actually planning on very, very soon, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I'm actually going to get some new apparel up there. So the really cool thing about the apparel is I'm actually, where I say I make my products for GF Outdoors, well, actually, me and my wife, we kind of run an apparel business as well. And I'm actually going to be, if you order a shirt or a hoodie, that's actually going to be something that I'm going to make and press myself as well. I have new graphics that I've made, new logos, and I'm going to be dropping those in the next couple weeks. And I'm very excited about that. I've been wanting to get those up. I already have my new designs made up. So I'm going to be getting those up on my website very, very soon. Like I said, t-shirts, hoodies. So anyway, but yeah, like I said, I appreciate everybody that supports the channel through GF Outdoors. And I kind of pride myself on the quality of my products. I don't think you're going to find anything better personally, because I've really did a lot of trial and error when I started making these things. And I'm not going to put anything out there and ship anything off that I'm not proud of and proud to put my company's name on. So I appreciate that very, very much. I appreciate it. Yes, I did catch those bass in February on a jerkbait. I did. The ones that are mounted that I was showing y'all that I caught in 2004, they were on a jerkbait actually too, back to back. But yeah, earlier this year in February, I caught a 8, 9, and a 7, 14, I believe, on a jerkbait this past February. So that was pretty dang awesome day out there on the water. We caught some absolute giants that day. Bass Shaker TV, what's up, man? Nice to have you on. Hats too. Yeah, I'm going to work on getting some more hats. Actually, it's really hard to get stuff around here embroidered, but I think that I might have somebody to be able to start doing some more embroidered hats for me. So I'm going to try to get some more hats up on the website as well, maybe with some new designs as well on some hats. So I'm going to try to get some new hats up there as well. Let's see. 3 lakes, you think? Best chance of a 10-pounder. I mean, yeah, Briary does get pounded. Sandy gets hit pretty hard too. The Chick Lake and Chick River get hit pretty dang hard as well. So I would say for me, I'm going to say the Chick River just because I'm a river fisherman. And there was recently, I know, a 9+ pounder caught in a tournament on the Chick River, but the Chick Lake has some giants too. But I have not fished the Chick Lake personally very, very much. I haven't put a ton of time, on that lake. I fished it right, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. I haven't fished it a ton, but I have caught right many fish when I have fished it, but just I've not put a ton of time out there. But I know a lot of guys catch big fish on swim baits, on like big glides and big swim baits. They do catch a lot of big fish that way out there. So, let's see, 15 minutes from that lake. Oh, okay. So you know what lake it was. Okay. I'm not going to call out what lake it was, but you obviously know what lake it was. It's a good lake. It's got some big ones in it. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to get more hats out there, some more Richardsons up on the website, and like I said, and some new apparel as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. Army Outdoors. Yeah, I know you told me that you were getting sent to Virginia from Southern California, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Tell you got a 4-hour drive. I mean, if you want to have some fun, I'd say go to the Chick River. But if you want to have a chance to catch like a bunch of big fish, honestly, I would say Lake Anna. That's just me, straight up. I would say Lake Anna. And that's just me personally. I would say Lake Anna. But you're going to be in Fort Eustis, so you're going to be near some really good lakes, like really good lakes. There's a ton of good lakes around there, and you'll be able to just look on the map and see them. A lot of smaller lakes that are really, really good with some really good fishing out there. So you're going to be around some good water. But I've been on here now for almost 48 minutes. I wasn't planning on being up here quite this long. I got my wife over there staring at me. She's actually finished dinner. And I'm going to get right and jump off here. And I'm starving. I haven't ate hardly anything today. Like I said, because me and my daughter, we went hunting this afternoon. Unfortunately, didn't see anything, but we got some more days in the season. Like I said, we got through Saturday. So the goal is to get her another deer. She got a doe with a bow earlier this year during bow season. So very excited about that. I actually got a really good deer a couple weeks ago, December 14th. Firearm season here in Virginia, but I was still bow hunting because I absolutely love bow hunting. And I was able to put my target buck on the ground, an absolute old buck that's been on the farm here forever. And a really cool storyline behind that deer. So I'm going to do a really cool video with a really good storyline and show you all that buck. I have the tracking video and everything. So really, really cool video that I'm going to bring for you all. I really want to do a really good edit on that video because this was a buck that I'd been knowing about for quite a while. He was super old, and it was one of those deer where you almost hated that it was over when you found him because it's such a cool storyline and just such an old buck. But I want to really do a good video on that deer. So I'm going to be working on that in the next couple weeks. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to jump off of here. I'm definitely planning on doing some more lives. It has been several months since I've done a live. I really enjoy doing them. I really enjoy hearing and being able to read y'all's comments, right at the time that y'all are typing them. I try to respond back to all the comments that I get on my videos, but in real time, it's really, really cool to be able to respond back to them, in real time. So, so me and Lee actually got out on the water last week. Definitely going to try to fish more with Lee. A lot of people ask why me and Lee haven't fished together quite as much and why in 2024 we didn't fish together quite as much. And really, that's just because we're old. We got kids and, we got, like I said, we got ball schedules. His kids are playing football and basketball and you name it. And my kids are playing softball. And it's hard to link up sometimes and get out on the water. But we were talking about it the other day. We're going to really, really try hard to get out on the water together more in 2025. So that is definitely a goal for the channel as well. So we're definitely going to try to fish together some more. That is for sure. But yeah, I want to tell everybody Happy New Year. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve, and I'm actually planning on trying to get out on the water on New Year's Day. Might get out there, try to do some more jig and spoon fishing, try to catch some more white perch, some more fish to put in the freezer for a fish fry. And we're going to try to, me and Lee and some of my buddies, we're going to try to do a little fish fry sometime here soon. Haven't done a fish fry absolutely in forever. So might do a little catch and cook type video for y'all as well. I know some of y'all like catch and cooks. And so I'm going to try to do some of those on the channel this year as well. But anyway, I really, really appreciate everybody that hopped on this live and checked it out. I appreciate it so, so much. I'm going to hop off of here. I'm going to go get some dinner, kick back, going to watch a little bit of Monday Night Football, and we're going to get ready for New Year's Eve. So I'm going to have some people over tomorrow night. It's going to be a good time. But anyway, be safe. Be safe on the water. Be safe if you're going out for New Year's Eve. Have a good time with your family and friends. I appreciate it so, so much. I'm going to give me something to eat. I'll see you next time on Gunfish TV.